Batra Daf Sadi Vav, continuing from Sadi He Amud Bet, 22 lines down. Amar of Yudah. يعني in Kaaba Hanud, someone selling wine in a store. Mevarchin Allah Babri Geffen, you say Babri Geffen. If his Damar of his says, what? I got Hamra da Akrim Namali. Who says you say Hageffen if it was sour? Maybe it lost, maybe it's not considered wine anymore. Meti have a question. Alapacha Ipisha, bread that became moldy, Balia and shea cream or wine that became sour, or cooked food that is spoiled. Because it's not regular food now, all these things. Omer Shakul, we already say Shakul, question against Rav Yudah. Marzir visited no. Mother Yudah would agree, but Pugnismat was in the Arkanata, in the case where you're drinking it straight from the grape kernels that sold in those corners, that it's such bad quality, he would agree that it's Shahakol. The opinion of Rav Chisda, more Kiman Sirle, who do you hold like? Amarle, he says, Matiti Adana, I know right now. The Tanya Berta says, someone checks the barrel of wine. In order to check if he needs to separate truma from it. Then he found out to be vinegar. So he tasted the barrel on June 1st, and it was wine. So he's like, I'm going to use this for maaser. Then he checks it later on, a while later, and now we found out to be vinegar. Does the maaser count? The 3 days are for sure. After that is not unsure. So my kamar, what does that mean? Mari Yochanan, Hachi kamar says as follows: anytime during the first 3 days after you inspected that it was good, but then we assume it's wine. After that time, safek, we're not sure if it's vinegar. My time, why? Wine in a barrel tends to turn sour from the top. From the fact that he tasted it and it wasn't bad, it must have been, it was fine. And if we had 3 days minimum, because if you go after the taste, it would have been sour. It would have smelled bad and taste bad. It would have smelled like vinegar but tastes like wine. And even if that's the case where it smells like vinegar and tastes like wine, it's still considered wine. Rabbi Yeshua and the Bimash says no. When it says the 3 days, it's referring to the last 3 days before it was vinegar. So if you check it on June 15th, then 13, 14, 15, you can assume was vinegar. But anytime earlier, Safek, we're not sure if it was wine or vinegar. My time, why? He holds that the wine in the barrel turns sour from the bottom. Therefore, it's possible the wine already became sour when he inspected it on June 1st. And he agrees that since he that if it goes from the top bottom, not that he tasted it and he didn't taste sour. Because maybe it started to turn sour after he tasted it. It would have been vinegar, smelled like vinegar and tastes like wine. And he agrees, he holds that if it smells like vinegar and tastes like wine, it's considered wine. Another explanation. The southern Chachamim said the following in the name of Rav Shua ben Levi. The first 3 days after tasting it, well, was obviously wine. The last 3 days before the barrel was checked to be vinegar, obviously vinegar. But the days in between, we're not sure. 1 second, it doesn't make sense. If you say the first 3 days is automatically wine, therefore you're obviously holding that if it smells like vinegar but tastes like wine, it's considered wine. But then you said that the last 3 days are automatically vinegar. That sounds like if it smells like vinegar and tastes like wine, it's considered vinegar. So make up your mind, how does that work? Contradicting. The Gemara says it's wallows. The barrel was found to have very strong vinegar, therefore it didn't happen just now the past 3 days. If it not turns down the 3 days before, it wouldn't have been such a bad smell. Therefore, definitely the last 3 days were automatically pasul and vinegar. According to who did Yosef answer? Meaning, did he answer like Rabbi Yochanan, that it's considered wine even if it smells like vinegar? Or do you hold like Rabbi Shua ben Levi, that it's not considered wine? And he would say, let's say, it would be a shakol. Itmar, Barta says, someone sells a barrel of wine to his friend. Turned to vinegar. If it's happened during the first 3 days, it was spoiled to begin with, and the seller has to refund. After that, it's the buyer's problem. Shmuel says, it automatically goes in the buyer's head because wine goes onto the shoulders of the owner, which means that it's due to his luck / mazal / sins. Rav Yosef wasn't on posek like Rav. Besichar regarding to beer, that if it was spoiled before 3 days, and if it was sold and then it was spoiled before 3 days, you have to get a refund. Like Shmuel regarding wine, that you don't have to refund it. Like Shmuel. Turn around. Whether you drink beer made of dates. Whether you drink beer made of barley. Whether you're drinking basically water that was put into wine sediment. So it's not wine juice, it's more like you use the sediment in water. مبارخين الله مش هيكون غير يسيش هاكل أحيانا حرام زي شمارين مش يشبه تام يعني if the sediments taste like wine مبارخ خان برا جفن سي جفن Rabbi Yosef Tamit they both say these rabbis say we don't hold like that, it's just flavored water, it's not actual wine. Marava, the Kulam, everybody agrees though. Ramat Tlata Va'ata Ava'a, if he poured 3 cups of water into the sediments and then 4 came out, Hamra was considered wine. And Rabba holds like what he said earlier as well. About elsewhere. Rabba says, Kol Hamra de Lodari, any wine that can't sustain being mixed al had plat maya with 3 dilutions of water, Lav Hamra is not considered good wine, which means that their wine was so powerful that they have to dilute it with a cup of water. And therefore, if 3 cups of water were poured onto the sediments and then 4 cups of liquid came out, it must be there was enough wine inside the sediments to make it into wine. Amar Tlata, if he agrees that if he would agree that if he poured 3 cups of water onto the sediments, then 3 cups came out, obviously there was nothing and there was no taste, yani, then obviously shakol. Keep looking where's the machloket. You poured in 3 cups of water and 3.5 liquid came out. Same 3 cups came in and out, therefore it's considered water. Pasha the only half a cup is there. That's not considered enough to make it wine, half a cup. Acharim hold, you poured 3 cups in, and only 2.5 cups came out because the half a cup of water gets absorbed into the sediments. And therefore, therefore 1 full cup. Now they have 3.5 cups completely out. And that's considered enough of a mixture to make it considered wine. That's why he holds the Batra Giffen. Is there machloket whether or not it's considered wine or something that's mixed inside and more comes out? Is there machloket? But Tanan Mishnah says, and we said 3.5 is machloket. But our Mishnah, Hamit Mad, someone puts the sediments, then he poured water on it. Then you have the exact amount come out. Patur, you don't have to make maaser on that. If you would have thought you needed, you don't. But seemingly the machloket regarding maaser is there's only machloket is if it's exactly the amount. You poured in 3, got out 3, for example, by maaser. But seemingly they would agree that if it's more, you'd automatically chayav. Mar says now, even if it was more. The hide they come so why would they argue on the exact measurements if it's machloket, even if it's more, which is the bigger chidush? Is because that teaches the power of Yehuda's opinion that even if it's the exact same amount, you're still chayav. Big chidush. If one drinks water that the sediments was put into, the water was put in sediments, now it tastes like wine. What's the halacha? Marley says to him, how can you possibly think that's wine? It's just the flavored water, and therefore that's not considered wine. You automatically say shahakol.